let's dive into this Aquarius full moon, okay? It is working with Pluto. This full moon, highest energy point of the lunar cycle, this big illumination point. A full moon is a time of release and letting go, right? In Aquarius, which is asking you to think differently, to question why, to think about where you have been following like this traditional path and how actually you want to rebel against that, you want to reject it, you want to start thinking differently, you want to start marching to the beat of your own drum. This full moon is literally working with Pluto, right? Planet of transformation, which is also similar themes of asking you to let go of what no longer serves you. Okay, what you actually know. Again, it's Pluto works with Scorpio energy, so there's like an intuitive knowing of this is no longer meant for me. This relationship, this habit, this kind of pattern, this family dynamic, this job, whatever it is, you will know deep down what it is. But the problem is sometimes we push that right down and we don't want to look at it, because that requires us doing a bit of an internal deep dive into why we don't want to look at it. Like what fears and limiting beliefs are coming to the surface that we would rather maybe not kind of dive into. Because when we dive into them, when we start doing a little kind of inner detective work, it feels like opening a can of worms. Because what change does that mean that I need to make in my life? What hard conversations do I need to have with myself or with other people? You know, and it's scary, because it's asking you to lean into change, and we are hardwired to stay comfortable, to stay in our comfort zone, to stay in the known. But Pluto is pushing you out into the unknown, because it knows when we are there, when we are facing our fears, when we are doing that deep inner work and kind of understanding that and peeling back layers, peeling back masks, peeling back patterns, it is making all of this space for everything that is aligned with actually who you are to come in. Okay, so this full moon is working literally, I think Pluto is at 4 degrees of Aquarius. No, I've said that wrong. This full moon, I've forgotten what I said. This Aquarius full moon is at 4 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto is at 6 degrees. They're literally, those energies of the moon and Pluto are just working together. Okay, this is big illumination time, and with Aquarius energy involved with that, it brings this it's rebellious to do this work. It is rebellious to decide to follow the path that maybe nobody else in your family has traveled before. Oh my god. And it's rebellious to sit with yourself long enough to question why did I make that decision? Why am I choosing that relationship? Why am I still in this job that I hate? Why am I still in friendship groups of people that don't see the real me? So it's rebellious to make space for yourself, to ask yourself these transformational deeper questions that require God, I don't know what's going on today, that require you to go inwards. Okay, because on the other side of this full moon, we have the sun in Leo. We have Jupiter right there as well, Jupiter and the sun, opposite the time that this full moon in Aquarius is happening. Jupiter is in the heart of the sun. They're at the same degree point. So it's calling you into expansion of being seen more as who you really authentically are. It's stepping into being more magnetically you, for embracing more play, more joy, more and expanding into that. But it's asking you, Pluto in Aquarius is asking you to do this inner work, to ask those uncomfortable questions, to dive deeper into that, so you can harness this Leo energy that is just, it's begging you to expand into being seen as to who you authentically are. And that takes a lot of vulnerability and a lot of courage if you have been moving through life, through friendships, through relationships, through work, literally hiding yourself behind mask, behind mask, behind mask, and behind mask. But that Pluto work is asking you to be like, it's asking you to have the awareness of like, and realizing that you are wearing a mask, you are behaving and in ways of that you think you should, and realizing that you have been biting your tongue or pushing down that real like depth of a feeling because it feels uncomfortable, or because you're scared of actually like sitting with the truth of what bubbles to the surface is going to mean that change is required. And I don't know how that change looks. I don't know how life looks the other side of that unknown, the other side of that decision. Because again, like I said, we're hardwired to stay with what's familiar, to stay with what feels safe. The other thing is, we still have that bubbles, I still haven't learned how to pronounce it, energy going on, where we've had these 4 planets of awakening and transformation and expansion, and like your vision, all chatting to each other in the sky, all in a particular place in your birth chart, remembering that your birth chart is this unique map, this self-discovery tool that is completely unique to you. There's a video that I did a couple of weeks ago now, where I literally guide you through what areas your life, this Barbo's basket is having. This is like a once in a lifetime astrological like event, and that energy is still unraveling now. So we have that also around us. The lunar nodes also changed sign on the 27th of July, so a couple of days ago, and are now in the sign. The north node is in Aquarius and the south node is in Leo. So like it's that when the lunar, if you have a north node in Aquarius, by the way, you are having your nodal return. So this happens every 18 years. So this is a point where the universe is being like, hey, you know that this is the energy that you want to grow towards this lifetime. Like, are you in alignment with where you said you were going to grow to? And so when we look at where this Aquarius North Node is traveling through your birth chart, what area of your life, this is really where it's calling you most into you really asking yourself those questions. Where can I march the beat of my own drum? Where can I like literally just be like, okay, I see that everybody else is doing everything this way, but I am actually really being pushed towards this path, to doing things differently, because I want to embrace like my life and live it in a way that is authentic to me, and that I know that that is actually like the truth of who I am. So I'm going to start leading myself towards that. Okay. And that can feel like deeply uncomfortable, especially if maybe you're in a space of like not prioritizing what it is that you need, or maybe you're in a space where you're not entirely sure like who it is that you are right now, because you have constantly put others and like their hopes and dreams or their desires or their needs in front of your own. So sitting in that space of prioritizing your own needs and leading yourself towards what it is that you want can feel deeply uncomfortable, but knowing that discomfort and you starting to prioritize yourself is like such a pivotal step to you like coming home to yourself. And that sounds so like wishy-washy, but there's such like a deep truth in that, because you know your birth chart is this map of you at your like truest essence. And every time you feel that kind of call to connect back with your birth chart, it is that remembering, it is that kind of coming home of like, oh yeah, there is this kind of this side of me, there is this gift within me, there is this kind of dream or vision that I have in this area of my life, in this zodiac sign. And it's this way of like, where every time you come back to it, that soul you kind of pulling you back towards you in here, and to remembering and like allowing that to just come more and more online. And I promise you, the more and more that kind of comes online, the freer you will feel, because you will realize how heavy it has been to be pretending and to behaving in a way that you think you should. And also, the more that you step into that version of yourself, like, you are also being a permission slip for other people to do the same, to walk a different path, to make decisions that prioritize their own needs and wants and desires. And the South Node in Leo, so North Node is like out of your comfort zone. The South Node is getting us to kind of sit with themes of, where am I looking for external validation? Because it's in Leo, right? So that is that kind of wanting to be seen, like wanting to be in the spotlight, wanting to be witnessed. But it is also really important to sit with the kind of lower frequency of Leo, which is like, I want to be seen because I need that external validation. It's only kind of hits me here if, like, I can only feel validated if it's coming from outside of myself, when actually we know that it all starts from within, from you seeing yourself, from you witnessing yourself. So there's also themes coming up about where in your life are you still kind of longing for that validation, or that well done, or that praise, or that attention from that person, because you can't give that to yourself. And there will be a particular area in your life, so a place in your birth chart, where that is the most like relevant for you right now, because that will be the house in your birth chart. So you want to find 29 degrees of Leo, and that is where the Leo North Node, the Leo South Node is, currently. And then where 29 degrees of Aquarius is, the house that's in is the area of your life where you're being called into, you know, to question why, to go against the traditional path, to do something rebellious, to actually embrace your uniqueness and your individuality in the different way that you see things, and to start marching to the beat of your own drum in that, particularly in that area of your life. And then doubling down on that, this Aquarius full moon is at 6 degrees of Aquarius. So also be looking at where 6 degrees of Aquarius is, and what house, what area of your life that is activating, because that's where it's asking you for the biggest release, the biggest kind of place in your life right now, where it needs you to sit with the question, but why am I in this relationship? Why am I in this thought pattern? Why am I still in this job? Sitting with that long enough, and seeing, when you ask yourself that question, what feeling, what your intuition, what bubbles to the surface. Because I literally was just thinking about this earlier. When I first had my birth chart read, and actually talking about Pluto, she was talking about where Pluto was moving through my chart, and it was through the 7th house of significant relationships. And at that point in my life, my youngest daughter was 3 months old, my eldest was 3, and she was telling me something about where in your life have you given away your power, or where you knew you were stepping into something that wasn't kind of serving you, or didn't feel right, or you didn't listen to your intuition. And I knew exactly what that was. But it was everything inside of me was no, don't you dare start thinking about that. That requires so much change. That requires conversations and things that we are absolutely not dealing with. And I pushed it right down. And then I came up with the second thing, that was off the top, the other second thing that kind of was coming to me in that moment. But that first, ping, that's what it is, was exactly what I needed to let go of. I knew exactly what it was. My intuition, soul me, came online and told me what that was. So listen as well, and be aware of where, when you're listening to this, what comes up inside of you of what you need to let go of and release, because that is the truth. And you might not like it because it requires so like a big change, but that is what Pluto is. That's what Pluto is all about, is big change. And big change requires like literally letting things die, letting things like go, stop clinging to what doesn't serve you anymore. Because in that clinging, you are stopping this process of creating this space for what is absolutely meant for you. So you're doing yourself a disservice by not listening to that truth. And I know it feels scary, but on the other side of this, you will never regret like not listening to that deep inner truth. You will regret not listening to it and going round and round in the same pattern, in the same kind of maybe Groundhog Day at work or in a relationship, or like you know when you're in a loop, and it's having the awareness to like spot that I'm in it, and then to create that space to just sit with yourself, to know what it is that now, like I have to release this, I have to stop clinging to this. Yeah, and those decisions are hard. So I'm also, as I say all of this, like I'm saying it with like a ginormous dollop of like compassion and love, and I see you. Like, change is really scary, but I also promise you that on the other side of that change, there is so much more liberation for you. There is so much more kind of joy and expansion and growth for you the moment you decide to step out of your comfort zone. I'm going to put the link below if you want to create your birth chart for free, if you want to have a reading with me to explore this more, to just explore where this full moon is activating your chart and the lunar nodes. If you're having your nodal return, you definitely need a reading. But if you're just feeling that pull of what, you know, you're here and you're listening and you're like in it, like there are things you need to remember in your chart, and it's speaking to you for a reason. So trust that and lead yourself to what it is that you know that you need, and also acknowledging that doing this work, using astrology, using your birth chart, working with the moon, working with the energies in the like co-creating with the universe, is rebellious. It literally is Aquarius energy in a nutshell, because it's challenging like the kind of the norms of what it is that we choose to listen to, and how we choose to create our lives, and how we choose to make decisions. It's like it's a very rebellious tool that you can use to remember your magic, essentially. Right, I'm gonna leave it there. Mwah.